Good evening, everyone. Yes, it was April the 14th, the last time that Arsenal lost a home game. Manchester City were in the middle of an imperious 35-game unbeaten streak. Ruben Amorim was top of the league. Liverpool were struggling to score goals against Crystal Palace, and no one knew how Gavin and Stacey was going to end. By the time we get to next April, Arsenal hope that the latest episode of the Premier League still has the ability to produce a twist in the storyline. Right now, Liverpool look dead cert, and everything seems against Arsenal. An early season gutfire in discipline, injuries to Ødegaard and now to Bukayo Saka. But we aren't even halfway through the campaign yet, and the only thing that is certain is that the ending is yet to be written. Ipswich Town's story has been a fairy tale in the last 2 years, but I won't lie to you, the step up to the Premier League has been tough. Ipswich need a way to change the narrative too. Leandro Trossard comes in for Bukayo Saka as Mikel Arteta looks for a formula to try and cover up the absence of the man that's provided 10 assists already in the Premier League this season. They start with Raya in goal, Jurrien Timber, William Saliba, Gabriel and Miles Lewis-Skelly at left full back. It's Declan Rice holding in midfield with Martinelli, Ødegaard, Havertz and Trossard behind, Gabriel Jesus in attack. Ipswich alter 5 from a hefty defeat against Newcastle. Liam Delap is available after suspension, but captain Sam Morsey is not available after 5 yellow cards. They go to a back 3 tonight. Aaron Muric has got Jacob Greaves, Dara O'Shea and Luke Worthington in front of him, with Ben Johnson and Leif Davis at wing back, Kayuste and Calvin Phillips holding in midfield, Amari Hutchison and Smodic behind Liam Delap in attack. At TalkSport we bring you all the Christmas storylines. This is the 10th Premier League commentary in 2 days and we ain't finished yet. Sunday sees 4 more live commentaries, including A Tale of Two Cities, as Van Nistelrooy and Guardiola clash at 2:30. And then Monday Night Football, Manchester United against Newcastle, live on TalkSport. Right now a chance to go second against the team second bottom, even on this crazy round of Boxing Day fixtures. Surely there's not another sudden turning point for Arsenal. Alan Pardew, the former West Ham, Newcastle and Palace manager, is here. Ipswich have conceded 7 goals in the opening quarter of an hour this season. They've almost opened the scoring here with a cross into the box from the left-hand side by Leif Davis, which Smodic got across in front of the goalkeeper and almost connected with.
Yeah, I mean, great start by Ipswich. They just hit a high ball up to Delap, and be interesting to see his performance tonight, because obviously it's the sort of player that Arsenal need. Arsenal now on the attack.
Yeah, and it's important that they hold firm Ipswich in the early exchanges. The ball goes deep to the far post from the right side where Martinelli is patrolling tonight. And Jesus at present is working out on the left-hand channel. Interesting, with Havertz and Trossard back together again in the middle of the Arsenal attack. The ball wide on the right with Martinelli, long sleeve shirt on, white-bodied, red-bodied white sleeves, white shorts and red socks, attacking the goal away to our right. He's wearing gloves tonight, Martinelli. Gets it back to Jurrien Timber, then across to Gabriel, and then out the other side to Miles Lewis-Skelly, who finds Gabriel Jesus, who's managed to conjure up 5 goals in his last 2 games, both of those games against Crystal Palace. And Arsenal will be hoping that he continues his goal-scoring streak against Ipswich tonight. 90 seconds played, 0-0. And this new shape is interesting. We thought it would be a back 3 with wing backs, but actually it's probably, when they're without the ball, Alan, going to be a back 5.
Yeah, it's definitely, it looks like Dara's going through the middle as a sort of centre of the 3 centre-backs. But Arsenal being very patient. It's interesting to see Delap dropping so deep as the lone striker. He's almost like 35 yards from the goal, so they're setting the stall out to a very, very low block.
Here is Martinelli on this right-hand side into Ødegaard, who tried to turn, couldn't do so. Dara O'Shea's clearance wasn't crisp enough, and Ødegaard's won it back right corner of the penalty area as they attack the goal away to our right. Ødegaard again flicking it over the top in the inside right channel, looking for the languid figure of Havertz, the long, lean, gaunt figure who swishes the ball over his shoulder and into the penalty area. It's cleared away by Ipswich and it goes out on this near side for a throw, which is quickly taken. Ødegaard sends it infield. It's blocked by Kayuste, and then Smolic allows it to run through to Delap. Delap, who's pushed to the floor by Havertz. It's going to be a free kick 10 yards short of the halfway line wide on the left. Is Alan Pardew.
Yeah, that's an important sort of role for Delap tonight, to try and win some kind of possession or win free kicks like he did there. Got nicked by it in Newcastle, sort of cheap line defence, and he went out to him and he held it up well and got a free kick. So Ipswich got a chance, and it looks like they're playing a little bit more direct tonight, so we'll see if the big fella can have some sort of imprint on that Arsenal back four.
What a chance that was in the opening 30 seconds. Down the left, the cross into the box, which actually took a flick, I think, off the arm of Urian Timber, and as a result of that, it came into the path of Smolic when he wasn't really expecting it. He reacted late as a result of that, and he didn't quite get a connection to take it past David Raya. 0-0, 3.5 minutes gone. This is TalkSport live at the Emirates Stadium on a misty night in North London. Alan Pardew and I sitting at the back of the first tier of seats here at the Emirates Stadium. We're about 20 seat rows from the front, behind the dugouts, the Ipswich dugout just in front of us, the Arsenal one away to our left, and standing right on the edge of the technical area, the suave figure of Mikel Arteta, all in black, watching Ipswich attack down the left flank. Thrown in by Leif Davis, picked up by Delap, he couldn't hold it, and Rice pinches it, gives it back to Lewis Skelly, and now a little bit overrun by Saliba, and across comes the battering ram, Liam Delap. He is absolutely huge, isn't he? And he's muscular and broad, and he's not afraid to get involved in a physical battle.
Yeah, he's sort of settled very well into the Premier League. Obviously a lot of talk about him perhaps being one of these so-called old-fashioned type of centre forwards, but his work rate is immense, and he's given himself a nice platform here at Ipswich.
And his dad, who didn't score too many goals, Rory Delap, used to love scoring against Arsenal.
Certainly did.
A ball up right through the middle of the pitch by Arsenal. David Raya with a long straight kick. It comes through towards Lewis Skelly, who looked to release Jesus, who was trying to run in behind. Ødegaard picks it up in a half space between the penalty area and in behind Sami Smodic. Works it to Martinelli, who's crossed to the far post. It's flicked away by Wolfenden, and it's put out for the first corner of the game. And Arsenal do love a corner.
Well, Martinelli, brilliant there. Went on the outside, and with Saka not in the team, that's going to be so important for them that he gives them chances and options from that side. It was a great ball in, something that Delap, the Ipswich striker, I'm pretty sure would have scored from. But as it is with Arsenal, they haven't really got that target. At set plays they have, and Gabriel obviously massively important to be very much where he is.
Who's watching Gabriel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is Liam Delap, who was holding on to him on the edge of the penalty area and stopping him from getting his run into the box. Remember, Arsenal have got 24 goals from corners since the start of last season, and 32 from all dead ball situations. The corner about to come in over on the far side. Delap watching Gabriel again. There's a little bit of body popping going on between the two of them. It goes in towards the near post, punched away, comes out to Ødegaard, and then it's picked up by Smolic, and a chance to break, and Kayuste trying to get in front of Ødegaard. It was all very physical inside that box, and Delap was holding on to the shirt of Gabriel actually, and doing anything he could to try and stop him from getting a run on the ball as it came into the near post, and it was well punched away by Muric.
It's such an important role for a striker at set plays, to come back and do a really diligent job. I've had a couple of strikers who were brilliant at it, Andy Carroll being one of them. Come back and be a significant figure at set plays in defending them as well as attacking, and he did well there on Gabriel. I think that's something to watch, though. He has to be careful.
Brighton 0, Brentford 0 at half-time over on TalkSport 2. If you want to listen to the second half of that game, it'll be underway in about 15 minutes' time. Download our app. You can flick between the two stations. It's Arsenal 0, Ipswich 0 on TalkSport with Sky Sports, and don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now. Search Now Sports. Far side, the Arsenal left is Leandro Trossard in possession for the Gunners in those red-bodied shirts with white sleeves, white trim and white shorts, attacking the goal away to our right. Deep blue Ipswich jerseys behind the ball with white shorts on tonight. And Ed Sheeran is in attendance, I'm told, this evening, as is, for some reason, John Legend.
John Legend?
Yeah, John Legend.
think I see a picture of him with all his kids with the same pyjamas. That seems to be a bit of a theme over Christmas, didn't you?
Yeah.
To put all the family in the same pyjamas.
Pardew household have those matching pyjama sets?
No.
Maybe that's one for next year, Alan.
Yeah, maybe. I think about it.
Ball is over on the far side. A free kick given against Hutchinson, and it's going to be Ødegaard who decides to put this ball in left-footed, about 3 yards in from the left touchline. It's about 15 yards outside the penalty area, wide on the left, and it's a terrible low ball which goes straight to Smodic, and he was only about 12 yards in front of him.
Yeah, they was trying a little tricky one there which didn't come off, and when it doesn't come off, it makes you look foolish.
Back to Aro Muric, who kicks out towards the left. Leif Davis, who's got a good defensive job he's going to have to do tonight, as well as his offensive work, which is usually pretty reliable. Martinelli plays it infield to Timber as Arsenal turn it over again high inside opposition territory. Rice pokes it to Ødegaard. It was a good ball by Rice. Back to Timber. Everybody in blue shirts behind the ball, and McKenna is trying to urge them to come out as they force Arsenal towards halfway. Gabriel pushes it on to Lewis Skelly, and then he turns and fires it back to Gabriel once again. That five-man Ipswich defence trying to work in unison to plug all the gaps and stop Arsenal from passing their way through.
Yeah, I mean, this is a manager who's come here and has changed his philosophy a little bit to try and get a result, something that other managers in the division, as we were talking about earlier, are not doing.
Now, both these two were involved in goal fests this week. Arsenal thrashing Palace, Ipswich humbled by Newcastle. Many expect similar outcomes, but as we've already seen in this round of fixtures, Christmas time does love to throw up a surprise or two. And Arsenal will still be thinking that they can win the title. They hold the Premier League record for winning the title, coming from the biggest deficit, 13 points back on this day 28 years ago, the 27th of December 1997. They were 13 points behind Manchester United and chased them down to win the title by 1 point.
Wow, that's a good start.
They can go second tonight with a victory. Here is Gabriel trying to pierce the tight, resolute Ipswich defence. He's repelled by Wolfington. It's cleared up to halfway, but it's won back by Lewis Skelly, who keeps it alive. Up to Jesus, who drops deep in the left channel. Back to the centre circle where Rice pushes it on to Timber. Timber further to Martinelli, but before he gets there, Smodic's working back really hard, nudges the ball out of play, and it's away for a throw into Arsenal.
If I was Kieran, the Ipswich manager, I'd be really pleased actually. They're on it. You can tell that. The gaps are small. There's not a lot of space for Arsenal. We're obviously getting a lot of possession, but there's not really penetrating because that back line is working so well at the moment.
Arsenal will go within 6 points of Liverpool with a victory tonight. Ipswich want to try and move out. Well, they can't move out of the relegation zone tonight, but they want to close the gap to those above them as tight as they can, and the only way you do that is with victories. Here is Rice being chased out by Smodic, turns it back towards halfway, and now it's at the feet of Gabriel. Gabriel across to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly, the 18-year-old, turns the ball back infield to Gabriel. It's 11th appearance of the season for Miles Lewis Skelly tonight, and he turns and feeds it on to Leandro Trossard, who's tight to the touchline, then wanders a couple of steps infield. He's 10 yards outside the box, gets it back again off Gabriel. Again, everyone behind the ball, apart from Liam Delap. Now he's behind it too. Here is Ødegaard, dropping deep the Norwegian to try and conduct and look and pick a way through. Can't do so has to turn after coming towards the right and go back centrally. Gives it to Rice. They're keeping them at arm's length at the moment, and Kieran McKenna will be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing when you've got a low block is your distances, particularly in the back four and the midfield. And that distance at the moment is really good. The two central midfield players are about 5-6 metres from the centre-backs, so there's no space.
Won by Leif Davis and fed up towards Amari Hutchinson. He tries to play it square, the former Arsenal trainee. But as he does that, it's Arsenal who themselves work back without the ball diligently to win it once again, turn it over and go on the attack. Halfway line is Gabriel Jesus. On to Leandro Trossard, who cuts infield, looks up. Ødegaard made a decent run towards the edge of the penalty area, but he declined the pass. Trossard came towards this near side and Timber instead. Ipswich usually focus on high pressure, but it's a low block for them tonight as Lewis Skelly plays it into Jesus. A little back heel doesn't come off to Havertz, and it's cleared away.
Yeah, it was a nice try though by Jesus. He just like a little flick, but it just out of reach for Havertz. He hasn't really seen the ball, Havertz, at the moment. He's playing almost as a second striker at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of fluid movement amongst those three, isn't there? Havertz and Jesus and Trossard. As the ball spilt by Arsenal, but they win it back again within just mere seconds, really, when they come forward again. The fog and the mist ever descending on the Emirates Stadium. It's almost quite difficult now to pick out some of the faces on the far side of the ground. It's like a white haze dropping over the Emirates Stadium here in North London this evening. I know that there's been a lot of problems with transport tonight. A lot of flights have been cancelled because of low hanging fog around Heathrow and Gatwick. Here is Jesus on the right-hand side, a low ball into the box. It's come all the way through to Trossard, who didn't hit it first time, and then set it back for Ødegaard. He's got it back again, Trossard. Now he does hit it, takes a block, and Cannon's behind it away for a corner. But you just wonder whether or not the opportunity went when he decided to take an extra touch after being set up well. Gabriel Jesus working the channel, taking the ball out of the sky, sending it to the Belgian. And maybe it was just a bit behind him, Alan.
Well, it was a little bit, but he's set for Ødegaard was just not on the money. And that's the moments, that you expect, that the quality that Arsenal have. He needed to set that perfectly. Ødegaard could have got a shot off, but he just didn't get it right. So unfortunately, he had to take a touch. Another set play for Arsenal, though, the second.
Another physical battle between Delap and Gabriel in shoes, just on the edge of the penalty area. Gabriel gets away from his grasp, but Delap gets back there very quickly. It's headed down at the back post by Trossard from Rice's corner. Arriving on the edge of the box, down the right side of it is Ødegaard. Two players come out to meet him. Trossard gets the setback. He crosses it deep, and arriving was Gabriel, but he was bouncing off Calvin Phillips, who did enough to put him off and not give him the opportunity to get clean contact on that. They're hemmed in tight by the corner flag over on the far side. Rice and Gabriel win it back for Arsenal. A real scrap going on between Phillips and Gabriel. Phillips shrugs him off, but the ball runs for Arsenal. And here's Ødegaard, edge of the area. He plays it wide to the left. Gabriel tucks it back, gives it to Rice. A chance to cross. It's a deep one, looking for Timber. Away by Leif Davis. And then Smodics brings it down and then tries to help it out towards this near side. And he can't get over the halfway line, and nor can Ipswich. 15 gone, Arsenal 0, Ipswich Town 0. Over on TalkSport 2, it's still Brighton 0, Brentford 0. The second half there starting in a few minutes.
Yeah, one thing from set plays, which is very important as a manager, is that, that second, third phase of set plays sometimes can get you a goal, and it almost did there, because Gabriel was still up there in and around the penalty box, and Phillips did terrific to stop him getting a header on the goal.
How frustrating it must be for those players now trying to deal with those Arsenal set pieces, that they're not just dangerous from the first phase or the second, but from the third as well. Nicolas Jover, I saw him, the set piece coach, coming out to the edge of the technical area and using his mind magic. Sometimes I think just his presence unsettles defenders. They think, oh no, what's going to happen?
They've done a mural for him outside, apparently. Is that here? Or is that somewhere?
There is a mural near here, yes.
For a set play coach, that must be the first.
Here is Saliba. Back to...
used to be Charlie George, back in the day.
Yeah. Alan Smith, who scored the winning goal in their only European trophy winning team, hasn't got a statue, but Nicolas Jover has got a mural. Here is Leif Davis tussling with Martinelli, moving out towards the near touchline. He's given away a foul there, Martinelli, and it's going to be a free kick in the left fullback position. They do like to be really compact, Ipswich, and plug gaps and then break when they can. Morsey usually very, very important to winning the ball back for them, not available tonight. But so far, Kieran McKenna's team have done very, very well at keeping Arsenal at bay.
Yeah, I think the first thing you've got to notice when you're a manager here, coming and you bring your side, is the group got a good psychology about it? Are they up for it? And I think Ipswich are. Defensively they've worked well. There's not been hardly many chances, couple maybe, but their defensive work and their quickness to the ball, like they just showed there, has been good.
Darren England is the referee. He's just going to free kick against Dara O'Shea. It was one of those where I thought, that's a 50-50. Is he going to get away with that? And then within a second you knew that he wasn't. But he has given the free kick in Arsenal's direction, and Arsenal have it. Arsenal, who have the best defence in the league. A lot is made of Saka's absence and how it affects them going forward, but Arsenal's defensive solidity it's probably what gets them back in the title race. They have kept 4 clean sheets in the last 5 matches. They only gave up 2 shots on target in their last 3 home league fixtures combined.
Yeah, that's a great stat. And you know, the great sides are measured by the goals against column. I think it was Chelsea one year under Mourinho or someone. Was it 12 goals they conceded all year?
That record, as everyone of a Chelsea persuasion was celebrating this week when the 16th goal was conceded by Arsenal, because that meant that the record stood for yet another year, and we hadn't got to Christmas yet. Yeah,
well, that is, I mean, you know, as a football manager, that stat is astonishing.
15 goals it was over the course of the season for a Terry Carvalho-led defence. 18 gone. Here is Havertz on the right side, approaching the edge of the penalty area, slipping it into Ødegaard, trying to turn, can't do so. Can you stay away? But only as far as right. Bit of space left side, but it wasn't a great pass back through Gabriel, and Lewis Skelly scurries to retrieve it for Arsenal over on the far side. Ødegaard makes a run towards the edge of the D, then declines, comes back. Gabriel has to turn the ball back to William Saliba. A bit of pressure coming from Ipswich jersey, who scurry to meet Timber, but he evades everybody, comes forward, sits a right-footed shot right down the middle of the goal, and it's saved beautifully by Aaron Muric. It was right at him, but it was a really good, decisive and purposeful run from Jurrien Timber, who picked it up edge of the centre circle, charged forward and made the opportunity all on his own.
Yeah, best individual moment of the game, that, because the right back just stepped into midfield, carried on and then got a good hit off. Unfortunately it was straight at the goalie. Great moment for Timber.
Goalie who's been holding on to the ball for at least 10 seconds, which you're not really supposed to do.
And the cardinal sin of strikers there. He takes a goal kick and the striker's offside.
Kick from hands.
That would get a mention at half-time from me.
Would it?
Oh, yes.
That would go on your notepad. Did you used to make notes?
Yeah. Because you want a few reminders of the game, because obviously at the end, 5 or 10 minutes, it can all get chaotic. Something could happen and your mind will erase a lot of what went on before. Not all bad things, though. Some good things.
Mikel Arteta has just come out, arms spread in the air. You see him screaming, and the vapour from his breath just coming out. He's absolutely furious about something.
Yeah, he wanted Jesus to make the run down the channel to sort of stretch the pitch.
Here is Trossard over on the left-hand side, cutting in, getting away from Amari Hutchinson, who did commit a foul, but the referee has allowed the advantage because Arsenal have still got the ball. Trossard, 10 yards back from the edge of the area, scoops the ball high towards the back edge of the box. It's headed away by Leif Davis, and it comes back towards Martinelli. Martinelli sort of fended him off and hit him in the face, but still managed to keep hold of the ball. Leif Davis kept his faculties, and the ball went back towards Saliba.
Yeah, the old rugby handoff there.
Ipswich trying to win it back. Martinelli's gone very deep, and Delap has ended up on the ground, and the ball's gone from the centre circle and Gabriel out to Lewis Skelly, then on to Trossard, who's from the tight edge of the penalty area by the touchline, comes back into midfield to Gabriel, gets it back again. Trossard pokes it forward into the box. Wolfenden picks up the loose ball and hacks it out of play over on the far side. Anywhere will do. Just a moment of respite, please, and it goes out and away for an Arsenal throw.
Yeah, the way Arsenal set up a little bit, I think it's a little bit easier for Ipswich down that side, because you know Trossard is going to come on that right foot and try to make internal passes into the strikers and follow it. He isn't really going to take you down the outside. So defensively, I think it's a little bit easier over that side. Martinelli, this side, has gone down the outside a couple of times and mixed it up, and I think that's a better option for Arsenal.
Yeah, everybody loves a winger that goes inside and outside, except for fullbacks, because you never know which one he's going to choose, and that makes just plants a little bit of doubt in your mind. And here is Martinelli coming inside for a moment, goes up towards Dar O'Shea, then goes back out wide to Jesus. His pass into Ødegaard was cut out by O'Shea. Smodics has got it on this near side. He's given it back to Jesus, who's worked hard and then helped it into the box. It doesn't quite run for Ødegaard. It's scooped away by Phillips. Drops on the edge of the area. There was a collision there involving Havertz, but Arsenal still got the ball over all of the ball. 91% possession after 22 minutes. That's quite some percentage. Ball over on the far side. Trossard, deep cross in towards Havertz. It's away by Leif Davis. Drops for Ødegaard. It's loose inside the box. Smodics managed to click it up into the evening sky, and then it comes back again to this left-hand side. I mean, all of the football taking place in the Ipswich Town half. They're keeping their line. Martinelli's cross is a good one. It's clipped away. It goes back out to the edge of the area, and now Trossard, who goes down the outside this time. Low cross through the 6-yard box, and there's Havertz to touch it home, and there's the opening goal for Arsenal. There's the variation that you were asking for, Alan.
Yep.
Trossard this time goes on the outside, gets to the byline, produces a cross for the 6-yard box, and Havertz is there to tap in his 5th goal in his last 8 games, and Arsenal break the stubborn resistance of Ipswich, and they lead by a goal to 0.
Well, Martinelli goes down on the outside on the right. He put a fabulous cross in. No one managed to get on top of that, but it will come out to the other side to Trossard, who for the first time in the game went down the outside, used his weaker left foot, but the cross was good enough for Havertz to just finish off. It was an easy finish for him. Great goal.
It was really well worked by Arsenal, and a reward for patience, actually, because it's been difficult to get too much action in front of goal. It's only their 2nd shot on target in the match, but Kai Havertz has the opening goal of the night, and after a solid start from Ipswich, they have been prized apart.
Yeah, and like all goals, you know, as a defending coach, you know, you would expect your centre half maybe to clear that. He's had a kind of air shot, therefore it's got through to Havertz, who's just got to tap in. So, couple of errors there for Ipswich, and it's cost them.
Now they're going to try and make something happen at the other end, Ipswich Town. A little bit of dawdling by Lewis Skelly, and he almost gave the ball straight to Amari Hutchinson. It didn't fall the way of Hutchinson, and it's cleared away by Arsenal eventually, but there was a little bit of a chaotic moment in the back line there. Ipswich Town, who have struggled really defensively in transition this season, have done a little bit better with the low block today, but it was always going to be difficult keeping out the Arsenal attack, even without Saka. They have enough weapons.
Yeah, but see, the problem you have with a low block is that you need to bloody the nose of the opposition, you know, from time to time. And in that period that we've just had, I don't know what minute we're in at the moment.
25
minutes. They've not, apart from the very, very first ball up front, where Delap made himself a bit awkward, they've not offered any kind of attacking threat to Arsenal. So they've just kept coming. And even no low block can cope with that. You've got to have an outlet, and at the moment that is their issue.
Ipswich have got used to being in the bottom 3. The longer that you are there, the harder it appears to get out of it. Ipswich have been in the relegation zone every night since November the 23rd, and that's not going to change unless they start putting some wins on the board, and it's going to be increasingly difficult over the period in which they've got to play 4 of last season's top 6, starting with this one tonight, in which they're already behind it. Arsenal have it on halfway, leading by a goal to 0 and going second in the table as it stands. Here is Lewis Skelly in from the left side towards the centre circle, finding Havertz, who's dropped deep. Jesus back to Gabriel. The other thing they don't want tonight, Alan, is another hiding like they got from Newcastle. That would be damaging.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they run something. I think they're 3rd worst team in terms of possession, and this isn't going to help tonight because, you know, they've hardly had any. And if you're going to keep turning over possession and not offering a threat, then unfortunately you're going to get score lines that are reflective of that dominance.
Yes, I think they've had less than 10% of possession so far in the game, and Jesus is making a nuisance of himself, closing down away to our right hand side and winning a throw in over on the far touchline. 27 gone, Arsenal 1, Ipswich Town 0 on Talk Sport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I would always look for in my team, if we conceded the first goal, what would the reaction be? You know, would people start running out of position? Would people start, you know, not doing the jobs? And I just think Ipswich are not quite as quick and as lively in their work since that goal. A bit of a worry, that.
And it looks a little bit less cohesion with that back line as well. It just looks a little bit less structured than it did just a few moments ago. They need to return to that as Arsenal come down the right touchline with Gabriel Martinelli, and then into Ødegaard, then Havertz, then back out wide to Urian Timber to Havertz again, and then Timber goes on the outside. What a player he's turning out to be. Into Ødegaard inside the penalty area. Across steps Phillips to win it back. And then Timber goes down under pressure from Leif Davis. The referee says play on. And then the ball comes out with Kayuste towards the near side, and Jesus will flick it out for a throw in midway between the edge of the penalty area and the halfway line.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Ipswich need to do. When you're in a low block like that, you've got to be really tidy when you turn over the ball. They turn over the ball in the box, and they made 2 or 3 good little passes and a little sprint, and they got themselves out of trouble a little bit. But Ødegaard had a great opportunity there, but he just turned into an Ipswich player.
Jesus going up with Leif Davis for a header. It bounces. Delap does well to get involved there, and he's just had a bit of a word of wisdom from his manager Kieran McKenna, Delap, and he's responded by winning that back and getting Ipswich on the front foot for the first time in around about half an hour. Here is Calvin Phillips on halfway. Wolfenden now through the centre circle. Local boy, first appearance since the end of October for him, wearing 6 with his tall frame and his blonde hair. He looks up and wants a pass forward. Smolix was saying work it out wide to Leif Davis. He's got it now. Infield it goes to Delap. Delap trying to turn, but he was offside. He came from an offside position. And referee is allowed play on because Arsenal have retrieved it. Anyway, 0-0 between Brighton and Brentford over on TalkSport 2. They're 7 minutes into the second half. Remember, we've got more live football for you over the weekend. Wolves at Spurs is Sunday, 3 o'clock. And that's live on TalkSport 2. Before that, 2:30, it's Leicester against Manchester City in the Premier League. It's live at the King Power Stadium. I'll be there with Stuart Pearce. And before that, we've got Nigel Adderley and Lucy Ward at Sheffield United versus West Brom, who are looking for a new manager. Carlos Corberán going to Valencia. Monday Night Football takes us to Old Trafford, Manchester United against Newcastle, and Game Day Live on New Year's Day takes us around the grounds with all the football as it happens. Adrian's going to be at Leeds for that one. Here is Declan Rice at the heart of the Arsenal midfield, up to Ødegaard by Timber, and Ødegaard now with a bit of space nudges it on to Havertz, who then further puts it on a plate for Jesus, who returns it to Ødegaard. Little flick to Havertz. Lovely football into Havertz from Martinelli, who goes down. Havertz, but it's kept alive. No penalties as the ref. Lewis Skelly gets it. They work it to the other side of the penalty area. They're now coming down the left. It's good one-touch football this from Arsenal. They're moving it quickly and causing problems for the opposition. And then Rice shoots from the edge of the penalty area, and it dipped towards goal at the very last. And Aaron Muric just moved a little bit quicker towards his near post, just in case it went wide.
I see Arteta giving a little round of applause there to his team, because that was some outstanding forward play. Ødegaard on the turn from another good pass from Timber, who's been excellent since the start, and then he just raced at that back four and a couple of little flicks and tricks, and they almost carved the way through. And Havertz in the end, I think it was a good tackle, but it looked a little bit of a stumble from him. Didn't know if he was looking for something, was he?
You never know. He was hoping for a bit of Christmas generosity, maybe, from Darren England, the referee. Ipswich always pretty generous. They haven't kept a clean sheet now in any of their last 14 Premier League matches. 26 conceded in that time. The last time they managed a clean sheet was September the 14th, when they got a 0-0 draw against Brighton at the Amex Stadium.
That's better play by Ipswich, though. They played ourselves well there out of that. And that's the sort of play they need to do when you're here at Arsenal.
That was Muric playing the ball into Kayuste into midfield, and then trying to get up the pitch a little bit further, instead of just Muric hitting and hoping it upfield. Here he is playing it across his 6-yard box into Wolfenden, and that's another good ball by Wolfenden into space for Amari Hutchinson, who's got green grass to run into. He goes down the side of the centre circle, then feeds it out towards the right-hand side. Ben Johnson gets into an advanced position, beats Lewis Skelly. The cross takes a little deflection, and then David Raya just watches it all the way. Liam Delap made sure that he knew that he was around, let's just put it that way, but he grabbed it anyway and runs to the edge of the penalty area and would distribute upfield.
Yeah. Some good play actually from the goalkeeper there. 2 incisive passes from him showed a bit of confidence, and Ipswich managed to get an attack, but the cross was poor and Delap really didn't have any chance.
He has managed to score 6 goals in 17 games, Liam Delap, so far this season, which I think for a striker operating in the level of the table that he is operating in, that's a reasonable return so far, I think.
Yeah, it's,
16, 17?
I think I'd expect that sort of figure from any striker coming up from the Championship. I think it's his all-round play at times that's been impressive, more so than his goal record.
Ipswich have got a lot of players that have been on the journey with them. Yes, they did invest, they had to over the course of the summer, but 13 of the 28 players that they've used so far this season played in League One under Kieran McKenna, and in that promotion season of 22-23.
It's so strange that momentum of getting out of League One can take you through the Championship. So many years that's happened, and Kieran managed to do that at Ipswich, and therefore you carry your squad through, and those players grow with the team and go up the levels as well.
Here is David Raya, just short of the centre circle, plays it square onto Saliba, back to Rice out wide towards the right side, finds Urian Timber, the muscular right fullback, the Dutchman who missed much of last season and really had a torrid time with injury after his arrival at the Emirates Stadium, but has been a really impressive addition to the squad on a regular basis this term and at the end of last term. Here is Rice in the centre circle, back out to the far side, and Gabriel slides it down the touchline into Havertz, who's just wandered out towards the far side. It's given into midfield where Lewis Skelly is, and then a diagonal ball to Jesus from Trossard, but he's got it over the line. Jesus, the offside flag is up. Well, I thought he miscontrolled it, then he poked it goalwards and I thought it was going wide, and somehow it sort of scooted over the line, but the offside flag went up and it was ruled out before they'd started celebrating there. He was offside and it was quite clear that he was a yard or so beyond, but I'm not entirely sure how he rolled that along the byline and into the net from a 2% angle.
Well, firstly, there's the run that Arteta wanted him to do down the side of the centre halves. Unfortunately, he's just straight offside, and you're right, his touch was poor, but the second touch wasn't. How he sneaked it into the goal was incredible. So it was a little bit unfortunate for him, because it would have been one of those goals that goes on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, just a bit. It was very quickly checked by the VAR, though, who tonight is Alex Chilovic. And it was pretty clear because of where on the pitch he made his run. It was just in front of the 18-yard line, so you could see from the angle of the camera that we had that he was closer to that than the last Ipswich defender. So it was very easy for the VAR just to acknowledge the decision that was already made by the assistant on this near side, Wade Smith. Ball on the far side with Amari Hutchison, trying to help it on to Delap. There's a foul that's been perpetrated on Gabriel Jesus, so the game will stop. And he got a whack in the face from Ben Johnson. It's going to be a free kick for the home team. 10 minutes to go before half-time. You're listening to Talk Sport, and Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. What will Kieran McKenna be thinking now?
Well, I'm just looking at this as a neutral manager. Obviously, he's managed through the divisions, and I mean, they just look like a championship side today, in which I would expect a championship side to play exactly like this. There's been not enough quality from them, the individuals in the team, really to warrant where they are in the Premier League. And again, they just made another mistake. So I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought they started the game with a good mentality, but individually, I've not seen enough from individuals to sort of suggest that they could threaten Arsenal tonight here. They look like way below the level of this particular opposition.
Well, the uncontested drop ball, which wasn't dealt with properly, has now been given back to Ipswich, and they have it inside their own half. Phillips sends it back, looking to get it out to Johnson on the far side. He's immediately hemmed in by red shirts and he falls over, can't get it forward. There's no out ball for him, and then Rice has it and Arsenal have it again and look to build from the back. And that's been the tale of the tape, really. Since we started here, Arsenal have been pretty much in control of possession and efforts on goal. They've had 84% of the ball so far, 4 attempts on goal on target, 2 of them, 1 goal on the scoreboard. Ipswich Town statistics are probably the ugliest set of statistics I've read out for quite some time. Expected goals 0, Ball possession,
0?
16.
Can't be 0.
Well, it's expected goal 0. They haven't had a shot, have they? That's why. Because they've had no goal attempts, no shots on goal, no shots off goal, no block shots, no big chances, no corner kicks, and no shots inside the box.
Yeah, but they're still on the pitch, so it can't be 0. I mean, I'm not a great stats lover. Sometimes they are a little bit like annoying.
Does that give you a misleading view of the game? Does it?
No. Well, yes, no. There's not much hope at the moment. But if I was an Ipswich fan, but. You never know.
You never know.
Here we go.
And they have the ball now, looking to try and create something with Amari Hutchison down the left-hand side, being chased by Rice. He's looking to get into the corner, and he looks to win a free kick, and he doesn't. He was looking far too hard to win a free kick, decided to throw himself to the ground and grab the ball with his left hand, and the referee says handball.
Yeah, I think Hugh's right. I think it's a foul. And, that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about with Ipswich. We need something from him, Hutchison. We need something from Delap. We need something from Phillips, like a moment to kind of inspire the team. And that would be my message to Ipswich. Come on, who's going to stand up here and, put in a 9 out of 10 performance here away at Arsenal? And at the moment, I'd give them all 6s and 7s at the moment, this Ipswich team.
Do you feel they're a little bit overawed by the occasion, or are they sort of playing within themselves because they know it's Arsenal? Or is this just the level that they're at?
Well, I think it's a combination of all that. It's an easy answer, but in a way it is, because Arsenal have been so dominant with the ball. And I would say in the last third that there's been a few times I expected them to do better, if I'm honest. But other than that, I would be quite happy with Arteta. The game looks comfortable.
Long ball forward by Saliba. It's a high one up towards Jesus. Leif Davis is just in front of the Brazilian and manages to nudge it clear, but it'll come back towards him. Davis will look up, try and take it down the touchline. Feeds it into Smodics, and then very quickly he gives it back to Arsenal. Then they have a little mishap between Martinelli and Jesus, and it goes on a play on this near touchline. Just having a look at the pictures high up in the Emirates Stadium in the posh seats. Ed Sheeran is here, running away.
Yeah.
And there is John Legend, who's being shown as well. He's still bopping away, being very musical.
Yeah. Well,
he's not sitting with
two great musical talents, by the way.
Yeah, but he's not sitting with the ordinary people.
By the way, are you more Ed Sheeran or John Legend? Where are you?
Well, I've been to see John Legend. I haven't seen live Ed Sheeran, but yeah, I'd say they're on a par for me. I do like John Legend. There's a bit of an issue here, though, with Greaves jumping over the top of Gabriel Jesus, which has caused a little bit of an issue. Delap is now being spoken to as well. We've got a little bit physical there. The producer was saying that I was on the fence over that sort of musical conundrum that you posed me.
Well, let's come back to that.
Well, I was. Sorry, I don't know.
He was divering.
I am, yeah.
Delap, but that's what you want your striker to do. Get a bit physical with them. Try and upset them a little bit. Knock them out of their rhythm, because at the minute, this is one of the problems when you play the top teams. I used to say to my teams, knock them out of their rhythm, get them out of their rhythm, not physically, mentally as well. Like, get into them, keep the ball.
The only issue I'd say about this game, it's been far too easy for Arsenal so far. And sometimes when you're in these games, there's a propensity not to go and get the killer goal or whatever. You leave yourself open to a moment where you could end up getting pegged back. Here's Lewis Skelly trying to turn and run at pace towards the Ipswich defence. He works it wide out to Trossard. Back in foot it goes to Rice. Rice now lifting it towards the far post. Martinelli with a header back through the 6-yard box. Away by Jacob Greaves. Drops inside the box and almost fell back out towards his near side, where it's collected by Martinelli. He holds onto it, runs to the byline, keeps it alive, sends it into the box. Then the assistant on this near touchline says it went out, and it's going to be a goal kick away to our right-hand side. It's currently Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. For the latest odds, you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Arsenal at 25-1 on to win the game. The draw is 12-1. Ipswich to come back and win 40-1. Jesus to score anytime 2-1. Delap to score the next goal 13-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Done well, Martinelli, on this right-hand side. I think there's been a real sort of spark of activity and got in and around it, and a good little header back there, and unfortunately no one was arriving.
Brighton 0, Brentford 0 is still the scoreline from the Amex Stadium over on TalkSport 2. Brentford did have a goal disallowed for offside in the first half. Crikey, there's a few sort of moments in this game which you don't expect to happen. And then the uncontested drop ball mess that happened about 5 minutes ago, and then there was a foul throw over on the far side then, which meant a very quick changeover of possession, and Arsenal have it back again on the far side. It's thrown in by Lewis Skelly. His throw wasn't very clean, and Smodic went across and tried to take on Rice. He then turned it over. It's gone out for a Ipswich throw, and they've progressed down the touchline. And what Arteta can't allow them to do is sort of take their foot off the gas and lose concentration, Alan.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened there. They just, you can see, maybe they can sense half times around the corner and some adjustments or whatever are coming, and let's just see it out. But, you know, as you say, the moments in football can be costly when you start just switching off slightly.
On by Rice in the air from Aro Muric's goal kick, straight down the middle of the park, headed back to Ødegaard, then he in turn sees it all the way back to Jurrien Timber. David Raya's got it now, and he's pinged it out towards the near touchline. Leif Davis and Martinelli go up on a halfway for a header. It bounces down kindly for Delap, who pushes Martinelli out the way and then runs into Saliba. The ball runs for Havertz, and Arsenal have it back again inside their own half. 90 seconds to go at the end of the first half, and Arsenal lead by a goal to nil. Lewis Skelly engaged by Calvin Phillips. Phillips is saying, well, there's nothing wrong with that. The referee says, yes, there was.
I didn't see a lot wrong with it. But he's done well, that Skelly. He's coming off that as a left back into that central role a few times and manoeuvred the ball well. He's had a good performance, but as you say, Arsenal just a little bit sloppy before half-time, and I'm sure Arteta will be noting that down to address. But in all honesty, Ipswich got a lot of work to do at half-time. I mean, I've been disappointed in Delap. There's a little sort of kind of contribution that he's had involved. He's not done enough for me, and you know, that's when you come here, your big players have got to turn up.
Lewis Skelly, who is in the England under-19 international squad and under-17s at the European Championships 18 months ago, joined Arsenal when he was still very, very young at the age of 9. May 2015. Crikey.
Great when you get a player come through the system and be as good as that and get to the first team. It's so unique and so rare, you know.
Here is Gabriel Jesus floating the ball out towards Trossard, 10 yards short of the penalty area that they're attacking away to our right. They move it further to the left, and Trossard again. He holds it, waits. Hutchinson goes towards him but doesn't engage. He's still with Trossard. Then on to Ødegaard, who lifts it over the top. Chasing it was Havertz across Cam Wolfenden. And then it's cleared eventually by O'Shea and put out over on the far side. Fourth official says 1 minute of added time at the end of the first half here at the Emirates Stadium. That is the signal for quite a few of the Arsenal fans to get up and go and start queuing for their hot dogs and pints. And Arsenal maybe have got one last attack in them before the break and before the half-time team talk from their manager, which I think will be good start, well done, but let's crack on from here. Not leave the door open. He's much more animated than that. He'll be in there for at least 12 of the 15 minutes, ranting and raving about something. He's a very infectious character, but he is definitely animated. Here is Lewis Skelly clipping the ball towards the far post. Well, it's a bit too high for everyone in red, so it runs through towards the corner flag.
It's a nice idea, he just overcooked it.
Back it goes. Sounds like my Christmas dinner. Here is Gabriel back towards Saliba. He's not going anywhere with it, and then everyone gets frustrated and says, right, that's it.
Let's go and have a cup of tea.
Let's go and have a cup of tea and a biscuit. And Darren England concurs, blows his whistle, and Arsenal, who haven't lost a home game all season, and certainly don't plan on starting now. They could have gone behind in the first 20 seconds of the game when Sami Smodic could have got on the end of a deflection off the arm of Jurrien Timber, but it didn't end up coming to anything for Ipswich. The only goal of the game put into the net by Kai Havertz. It means that they are in the driving seat at the break. Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0 in a very one-sided first half, Hugh.
Not enough threat, not enough possession, no outball. That's the problem in the first half for Ipswich Town, and Arsenal didn't really produce enough chances, and give this expectant crowd enough entertainment in the first 45 minutes. They'll be hoping to rectify that. They want to ensure that they do not leave any room for error as the game goes on and put themselves in jeopardy. David Raya has got an issue here and has come running out of his goal and now has received the ball as we kick off at the start of the second half, and then almost giving it straight to Sammy Smodics, who's robbed it, and he's out of his goal here. Can Smodics finish it? He's been driven wide by Saliba, and Saliba has gone down into the right full-back position and managed to clear. But Arsenal, after not providing maybe enough entertainment in the first half, and there was no chances for Ipswich Town, decided to show a little bit of generosity of spirit and give them one themselves, Alan Pardew.
Well, I don't know what Raya was doing there. You sort of said he had a problem, and then he come out. They passed it back to him, and I thought, well, he's going to go long, and he passed it to a centre half who wasn't expecting to receive it. They nicked it, and wow, if he just swung his left foot, he had an open goal, didn't he?
Yeah. Really, Smodics, he scored 33 goals in 48 appearances last season for Blackburn in the Championship, probably should have just had a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've given the ball away, Ipswich, and Martinelli chips the ball into the penalty area. It's away by Dara O'Shea and cleared up towards the halfway line. It remains 1-0. You're listening to TalkSport live at the Emirates Stadium, where they're still funneling back in from their half-time libations. And
libations?
Yeah, well, it's a posh word for drinks, mate. Yeah, you got to vary things up, try and add a little bit of spice to the occasion.
Did you get a dictionary for Christmas?
Yeah. One of those virtual ones, you know. I just put it into our AI. Different word for drink, please.
Yeah.
Shuffle it for me. But it's still 1-0 to Arsenal. There's no changes at half-time, and I think really both teams need to just up their game in the second half. Ipswich certainly need to find a way to hurt Arsenal, even if it's just sporadically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think with Arsenal, at some point you've got to say that Ipswich must come out from this kind of, I don't know, don't want to use the word coma, but there is kind of like a sleep technique to their play, and they need to snap out of it. And when they do, that will be where the game will be hinged. Will Arsenal get through them and get the second, or will Ipswich get that chance?
Odegaard runs at pace towards the edge of the area. He's allowed to travel a long way, gets his shot away. It's blocked by Jacob Greaves, picked up by Kayuste over on the far side, and then further clear up to Delap by Smodics. He holds the ball up well there, Delap, something he didn't do that often in the first half, which was a little bit of a criticism of him.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a much better touch by him, and in doing so, the centre-halves come through the back and they've got a free kick. This is a great opportunity for Ipswich. They've got through the first half with 10%, 12% possession, and there's still only one goal in it. So, you have to take that as a kind of positive into this second half and try and create a moment.
48 gone. It's 1-0 to Arsenal. Kick cleared by Aro Muric. He yarded from the left touchline. It's flicked on by Delap, but the offside flag is up again, and that's happened too many times.
Yeah, that's his third, fourth time, and so frustrating. When that is your option, to hit it up to him from those deep set plays and get around him. For him to be standing offside is criminal, really.
The last time that Ipswich beat Arsenal in any competition, 1-0 in the League Cup semi-final. Tamas Priskin, 78 minutes on the clock when he got the winner that given them the championship side as they were, a first leg advantage in a League Cup semi-final. Arsenal did win the return 3-0. Here is Jesus over on the right-hand side, moving up towards the edge of the penalty area. The cross into the boxes towards Havertz, over his head, comes through to Trossard, whose strike is blocked by Johnson. Comes out of the penalty area, left side, where it's collected by Lewis Skelly. Slipped down the outside towards the lean and slender figure of Havertz, who turns it back to Lewis Skelly. Into Rice, who tries to find Odegaard. He looks to force the issue, and it's cleared away by Ipswich. Delap now chasing a loose ball, and this time again he gets hold of it, keeps hold of it, turns, tries to shrug off the defender. He's being dragged to the floor. The referee saw the advantage for Ipswich, played the advantage, and they move it over halfway. Delap now gingerly getting to his feet after his wrestling match with Saliba is over. and he goes up to resume hostilities. But that's a couple of times in this second half that Delap has shown his physicality and held the ball.
Yeah, and not only that, his starting position is much higher. So that, they've at least got an out ball now, Ipswich, and that looks like a change from Kieran to sort of say, well, look, let's just take you away from Rice. I mean, that will leave them with a problem when they get the low block, because Rice will be able to get shots from the edge, but I still think it's a better option for them.
Hutchinson trickling down the right side, goes down under pressure from Lewis Skelly, and he says he was pushed to the floor, and the free kick has gone against him for diving.
Well, that's the second time, isn't it?
Yep.
And he hasn't been booked. So if he is diving, why isn't he booking him?
Is it a foul, or is he diving? Or is it a coming together and he ends up handballing it by falling onto the ball? Is that what it's been given for? Handball?
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah.
Arsenal unbeaten in the last 13 league meetings with Ipswich Town. The last league victory of Arsenal came for Bobby Ferguson's men against Don Howe's Gunners. 2-1, Division 1, Portman Road, September 1984. Romeo Zondervan and Russell Osman.
Well, I don't care about them names. You said a name there. He's legendary in the coaching world, Don Howe, and let's give him a shout out to his family, because he was the best coach I ever see work. What a man he was. Yeah. Brilliant.
That team that he managed in 1984 was the last one to lose a league meeting to Ipswich Town. Charlie Nicholas was in that team. He scored a goal that day. September 1984. Rice charges forward, goes down, wins a free kick on the edge of the penalty area, and it's going to be a free kick about a yard just outside the box. And after slaloming through, he got contacted by Cayuste, and the free kick went against the Dutchman.
See, that's the great gift that Rice has. Delap has now come away from him. It gives him a little bit of room, and he can exploit that kind of room. He's got that great hit on him. That was a particularly great run as well. Such a fine player. He's such a great signing for Arsenal, and he's going to be over the next 5 to 8 years.
I said Dutchman, it's actually Swedish. Jens Cayuste with a Dutch name. Sorry. Izzy, the producer, looking at me as if I was mad for suggesting that he was a Swede. Oh dear. He is a Swede, he's not a Dutch, yeah, you get what I mean. It's been a long Christmas. Free kick on the edge of the box, to be taken quite possibly by Ødegaard here. In the absence of Saka from this sort of range, Ødegaard will fancy it. Rice is standing over it having a conversation. Urin Timber is there as well.
And so it's a left footer, this one. It's Ødegaard, in my opinion.
Yeah, Trossard standing over it as well. There's a four-man wall, and then there is someone, I think that's Leif Davis, lying down behind the wall. This is about 19 yards. It's literally 1 yard outside the box. It's down the side of the D, so it's at a slight angle, and you look as if it's going to favour the left footer, and Ødegaard now sort of try and get it up and down from a relatively short distance. It's not a perfect range. It is Ødegaard who strikes it straight into the wall. And it's cleared away by Hutchinson over on the far side after Dara O'Shea blocked the initial attempt. And after all that setup that they did, it was not exactly executed perfectly. That turn by Trossard certainly was, and he managed to feed Ødegaard down the right-hand side. Edge of the area gets the return. Now onto Havertz, pokes it wide. Oh, he's found Ben Johnson rather than Gabriel. And now they look to get away, and there's a foul by Havertz, which generates a free kick for Ipswich.
I'm wondering if Kieran in post-match will say, first half we was too timid and we didn't offer enough threat, and we got into them at half-time, because second half they've certainly been more aggressive in their play and look more assertive about themselves, although Arsenal look lively as well and look better. So both teams improved on the strength of the half-time rehab.
Certainly Kai Havertz has been a little bit too aggressive and has got a yellow card for tugging back Hutchison as Ipswich look to escape just moments ago. The ball is in the right full-back position, and it's forward by Wolfenden up towards Delap. This time he can't hold on to it, but there's a little bit of contact as well from Saliba to put him off, and it runs out of play for an Arsenal throw on the halfway line. It is 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's almost finished down at the Amex, where it's Brighton 0, Brentford 0. A late set piece which Ayari is taking for Brighton might well change proceedings in the last few moments at the Amex Stadium. Certainly Fabian Herzler will hope so, because they haven't had a great run of it. Martinelli's just been adjudged to have fouled Leif Davis over on the far side. That looked very soft. It seemed to go over Davis's head. There was a little nudge, but nothing more than that from Martinelli.
Yeah, that was a footballer's nudge, because that was a foul, and all footballers know that's a foul, so the referees give the right decision there. You know, that's just enough to knock him off at the level that he needs to be at to head that.
Well, he certainly didn't do it, and Martinelli was penalised, and Ipswich get the ball back up to Delap, who again is met by Saliba. Ball's kicked out of play, and it's out on this near touchline and away for another throw-in. 1-0 to Arsenal, and when that game finishes on TalkSport 2, Brighton against Brentford, you'll be able to listen to the darts on the TalkSport 2. You can watch the darts, you can watch it on the YouTube channel. Of course you can, yes. That's what I was getting confused with. It's on the darts YouTube channel. We've got a darts YouTube channel now.
Anyway, YouTube?
Straight on the PDC World Darts, straight after the game is concluded over on TalkSport 2. We've got the Sports Bar Weekender with Jason and Carlton Cole tonight from 10 o'clock, and you'll be able to, just after 10 o'clock, you'll be able to have your say. 03717223344. A late free kick goes out of play, the full-time whistle goes, and Brighton draw 0-0 with Brentford on the south coast. Here a free kick has been given to Ipswich. It's 10 yards inside the Arsenal half, wide on the right. Wolfenden, the centre half, will set it high into the evening sky. It's attacked by Greaves, comes out to Kayuste trying to turn. The Swede gets it back to halfway, and it's sent forward again by Wolfenden, who runs down the right side. He doesn't get engaged with anyone. He continues to just blaze a trail forward. He then turns and fires the ball towards Ben Johnson, who tussles with Lewis Skelly in the right corner of the field. Ipswich then tussle with it through Hutchinson, who gets away from Jesus and runs to the byline, then produces a cross. It's a deep one towards Leif Davis, who helps it back through the 18-yard box. There's no one there to finish it off. It's a poor clearance, so Phillips gets hold of it, shoots goalwards. Rice, who used to be his international partner, blocks the effort. It comes back out of Dara O'Shea, and Ipswich come forward again. Here is Johnson down the right side, back to Hutchinson, right angle of the penalty area. A left-footed cross goes straight to Rice, but Phillips is there to win it back. Definitely more urgency about Ipswich in this second half. This is the most they've played in the Arsenal territory. Leif Davis's cross into the box, goes through the 18-yard box, is flicked away by Saliba, and out on this near side. It was a dangerous delivery from Davis.
Game on now. This is how Ipswich should have played from the start. They're putting Arsenal under pressure, keep winning the ball back in their half, and keeping sustained attacks.
Well, they're good at high pressure, aren't they?
That's what they're good at.
And they should have utilised that from the beginning. Sat off far too much. Went for the low block. It didn't work. Now they're turning the game on its head. But this is the problem with Arsenal not putting the game to bed when they had 90% possession in the first half, Alan.
Yeah, that is the point. And as Hugh said, you know, when you look at Liverpool's wide players and the options that they have in terms of goal threat, and you look at Arsenal, there's a marked difference in my opinion. And that's why Liverpool have got that cushion. They have those attacking flair players. You can get goals and create havoc. If you're going to have 90% possession against Liverpool, they'll get 2-3 goals.
58 gone, 1-0, and another free kick for the visitors, Ipswich Town. The tractor boys and girls behind the goal away to our right, certainly making their feelings felt now. As the free kick comes in, Phillips delivers the ball into a dangerous area, and it's Havertz who's back there helping out, heads it behind, and it's out for a corner for Ipswich. It's their first corner of the game.
Yeah, and their best spell by some distance, by the way. So Delap playing further up the pitch, a little bit more aggression on the surface, a little bit better attitude all round, and suddenly you've got a game on.
Arsenal unbeaten in their last 53 Premier League matches when they're leading at half-time. But they're under the cosh for the first time in the encounter here at the Emirates Stadium. Leif Davis to take a corner kick from the near side, the Ipswich Town left. He hits it left-footed in towards the near post. It wasn't a great delivery, and it was away by Gabriel Jesus and cleared up to the halfway line. Wolfenden recycles it, sends it back from whence it came, and rather alert to danger, That was a really good header by Miles Lewis-Skelly to get it back to his goalkeeper David Raya.
Yeah, when you're the opposing team and you get, particularly at great stadiums like this, and you get set plays, you can't afford to hit the first man. And Davis, he's got a great left foot, by the way. He's under-hit that, and unfortunately Ipswich get nothing from it.
Here is Erdegaard, far side. Infield it goes to Saliba back to Rice to the far side, and now it's on to Urian Timber trundles down the right touchline. He's midway into the Ipswich half, goes centrally to Erdegaard. The wispy Norwegian sends it out to the right. It's back into Havertz and then back to Erdegaard again. Into Erdegaard once more, who accelerates, stops and goes back outside, and they're touching the touchline almost over on the far right hand side. Poor ball forward by Gabriel. He's gifted possession back to Ipswich. Delap's tried to keep it moving, and now they have got forward to Hutchinson. There's space over on the left for Smodics. I don't know why Hutchinson decided to hoik it forward instead, and Phillips, although he's chasing it, he's not going to reach it. It's going to go out for a goal kick.
Yeah, on those turnovers, and Ipswich have had 2 or 3 now. They've just made the bad choices in terms of that first pass from the turnover, and they did there.
Argy-bargy between Phillips and Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah, but he's been good, Phillips. I think he's had one of the better games I've seen since he's left or departed Man City tonight. He's been at it. So just nothing in that though, really. I don't know. They're just having a little chat to him.
Yeah, there's a little bit of afters where they grabbed each other by the shirt, sort of ran a little bit of a square up to one another. I mean, to be fair, Calvin Phillips is 29 and Lewis-Skelly 18. You should really respect your elders. 61 on the clock. It's Arsenal 1, Ipswich Town 0. Oh. Again, Amari Hutchinson almost looking to escape, doesn't quite get there, and it's given back to Gabriel deep inside his own half. He nudges it forward. Havertz now out to Trossard, touching the left touchline. On by Erdegaard to Havertz down the left channel, gets to the byline, pulls it through the 6-yard box, blocked by Wolfenden. Out for another corner to Arsenal. Good, quick, slick football for Arsenal.
Yeah, there's a little bit more space for Arsenal to work in, and they worked that well that time. Odegaard again at the centre of it, as he almost is when anything coming centrally through Arsenal. He's usually the man, and he created a great moment there for Havertz, and I thought actually his cross was disappointing.
Here he goes into the wall to the back edge of the penalty area, waiting for the delivery from Declan Rice, who takes the applause of the Arsenal supporters who are in the end away to our left. It will be Declan Rice delivery. 4 Arsenal red shirts at the back post, 1 right on the goalkeeper in Saliba. Gabriel wrestling with Delap again. It's in towards Gabriel, far post. He missed him. He headed the ball down and over the crossbar. Well, he escaped the clutches of Delap. He got on the end of the set piece from Declan Rice after emerging from the grasp of the centre forward, and somehow he's missed from 3 yards out, heading the ball down and wide.
Well, when he looks back on that, he's going to wonder how he's missed it. It's just incredible. I mean, he's probably the number 1 target in the Premier League at the moment in terms of, that threat from a set play. And Delap completely lost him. He was trying to wrestle him. He smuggled away from him. But his header was just all at sea, and he's put it wide from about a yard out.
Yeah, it's so close to being a second goal for Arsenal. Probably should have been. And Arsenal will be
by the way, another great ball by Rice.
Brilliant, yeah. I mean, Declan Rice's deliveries from those ranges are brilliant. 5 assists already this season. Listen, they're going to miss Saka and his delivery into the box. They're going to miss him from set pieces on the other side, but he does a brilliant job from this side, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, then set plays from wide areas where he's hitting those tremendous pace on that cross.
You're listening to Arsenal versus Ipswich on TalkSport with Sky Sports. It's 1-0 to the Gunners. That's a shaky ball, but well taken by Jens Kajustek. And he manages to turn the ball out on this near side. And now Hutchinson scampers clear. Up over the halfway line he goes. He tries to, I don't know what he was trying to do. I thought he was going to try and work it out to Leif Davis, who'd made a brilliant run down the left-hand side and was in space and unmarked. Yeah. But he played it sort of betwixt him and behind Smodics and ended up giving it straight back to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think he was trying to bounce it off one of the strikers and then maybe play it out there, but he didn't need to. He just needed to give it to the left back who was, raiding down that side. I think it was Jesus, just let him go. So it was an opportunity for Ipswich.
Free kick given after Odegaard was fouled on the edge of the area. A yellow card for Leif Davis for his challenge on the Arsenal captain. It remains 1-0 to Arsenal. You're listening to Talk Sport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on Now. Search Now Sports. Sati Kathola is here today. He was introduced to the crowd at 8 o'clock tonight. It was the first time that he's been back to the Emirates since leaving. He got a brilliant round of applause. What a player he was. He was one of those that was really a terrific footballer, but hampered by injury. And going back to that discussion that we were having about 1984, by the way, I did do a little bit of research. The last time that Ipswich won a league game against Arsenal was 1984, September. Alan Pardew running the midfield at Dulwich Hamlet, I worked out. Would that be right?
That would be right, yeah. I don't know about running the midfield, sort of running around in the midfield probably. But yeah, it was. I had a long non-league career. And it stood me in good stead in terms of mentality when I come into the pro game.
A game has stopped, both sets of players getting instructions from their managers. I also worked out September 1984, Careless Whisper, George Michael was doing the rounds in the charts. Did you have a few slow dances to that?
Yeah, I had little periods. I was Simon Le Bon for a little while.
Simon Le Bon,
yeah? Yeah, I was Simon Le Bon for a little while, then George Michael.
Yeah.
Had a few roles over the years.
It was also the month that I Just Called to Say I Love You was in the charts by Stevie Wonder.
Not so keen on
Not for you?
Not for me.
Hughes up for it. He's calling it tune.
That, yeah, just went on and on, then it just like a bit monotonous to me.
Yeah, this is almost exactly how it sounded.
Yeah.
1-0 to Arsenal. We are now, thankfully,
I did like
underway.
He was top man when he was top man.
Leif Davis did get a yellow card. Yeah, I don't know why I decided to give it to Leandro Trossard. That was a bit stupid of me. I did do that on my sheet. The producer, Izzy, just pointing out that I'd put my yellow pen on the wrong part of the piece of paper. It was Leif Davis who was booked for his challenge. Ball up and out towards the right-hand side. Havertz gets it back to Timber. Timber forward. Now, good little half turn by Odegaard, who tries to poke it through into the path of Martinelli. Released by Ipswich and upfield towards Amari Hutchinson. But again, his pass has been a little bit off today, Amari Hutchinson. Given the ball away a little bit too much in key areas. And that stopped Ipswich from finding their flow at vital moments. And now Aro Miric has just got a ball back to his feet and he's kicked it straight out of play, and that's invited Arsenal pressure.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you're going back to a place where you was already at, maybe trying too hard to influence the game, or he's just been off it, hasn't he? And unfortunately for Ipswich, he's had the time and he's been the spare man at times to sort of get in between the lines, and unfortunately just not made use of the ball. Hopefully, before the end of the game, he might make one count. If you're an Ipswich fan, obviously.
Yes. Arsenal fans will be hoping that he doesn't.
No.
Here is Gabriel as Ipswich Town now warm up substitutes down in front of. Is that Jack Clark who's getting ready for Ipswich Town as Trossard picks it up centre field, plays it out towards Jurien Timber. Timber joins the attack and Arsenal move forward with Martinelli. Good tackle by Cayuste. And Ipswich have got it back again. Phillips into Leif Davis. A reverse ball into Cayuste. Lovely turn away from Trossard, and now they're on the front foot. They need to switch it out to the near side. Instead they go back to Wolfenden. Arteta keeps wandering out of his technical area, and he has been warned by the fourth official, by the way, who is Lewis Smith today, who has already just sort of taken him to one side and said, can you stop coming out of your technical area, please? And does that irritate you when they say that to you?
Yeah. What are you getting involved for? Leave me alone. Just concentrate on the referee decisions. That would be my answer to him. But like what we was talking about at half-time, me and Hugh, I think you might have went for a coffee because obviously you're a star man. But we were talking about that we needed some Ipswich players to have a bit of jeopardy, to kind of throw some bravery, and they've done that the second half.
Yeah, and they've had a good chance. They just haven't converted it yet. But it's still 1-0, and whilst there's 20 minutes to go, 1-0, they're sticking into it. This is perfect for Kieran McKenna. They're not perfect, but it's certainly still, they're in the game, and that's all he could have asked at this stage. Jack Clark about to come on and maybe create something different. Here's Leif Davis, back to Kayuste square to Phillips, 20 yards from the edge of the penalty area. Then he goes back to O'Shea. They're keeping the ball in the Arsenal half. Arsenal now sitting back off the ball, and Ipswich in possession of it as we approach 70 minutes live on Talk Sport. Currently Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. The latest odds available at Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Arsenal 20-1 on to win the game. The draw is 10-1, Ipswich 50-1. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes, 18+, begambleaware.org.
You see Arsenal starting to get a little bit nervous in their play, because obviously there's only one goal in it.
Here's Delap trying to get the better of Saliba after a long ball. Saliba gets in front of him and wins that duel eventually. Plays it into Rice. It was good defending by Saliba, because I thought initially it just lost out to Delap, who had physically overpowered him, but then Saliba reacted and came again and nabbed the ball back.
I remember Alex Ferguson saying to me, at a top club like Man United, your centre halves have got to be able to deal one-on-one. They've got to be better than the striker, and when you win leagues, that's what you need your centre halves to do, and these two at Arsenal definitely can do that. They can go, if they're forcing the game and they can push a centre half in, they can go man for man, and that's an example of how Saliba is so good at that. Delap just got the right side of him, looked like he had good possession, and Saliba stole it back.
So a couple of changes, and Schmodix is off, and on comes Jack Clark, the 24-year-old left winger, and Jesus has come off, and he is going to be replaced by Mikel Merino. So I suppose he'll go a little bit deeper, and Kai Havertz will go forward into an advanced position. Is that likely to happen, you think?
Yeah, I think Arteta's sensing what I would sense, that his team are getting a little bit nervous with this one-goal lead, and he's going to make sure that he gets another central midfield on there, and that Ipswich don't get any kind of opportunity. Try and snuff them out a little bit. We're having an extra pair of legs and an extra defensive mind.
Well, he's another physical presence as well. He's absolutely huge, is Merino. Brilliant in the air, and really athletic, and just adds a little bit of extra power in that middle of the park. Havertz has peeled away to the right. Merino gets it back to halfway from the central area, and it goes into the centre circle. We've got 18 minutes to go. You're listening to Talk Sport, and it's 1-0 to the Arsenal. 0-0 earlier today between Brighton and Brentford. That was our 9th game of the 10 Boxing Day fixtures. This is number 10. At the moment it's going the way everyone expected, Arsenal winning, but not by much, just the one slender goal. Here's Ødegaard trying to do something about that, slaloming his way into the box, he gets up to his left foot, drives it high towards the far corner, and it's over the top of the crossbar. It was a brilliant little bit of magic with the twinkle toes of Ødegaard, picking the ball up right side of the area and using his dancing feet to get into a shooting position inside the box. He cut in past 3 players, and on his left foot on the edge of the 6-yard box he slapped it goalwards, but it was high over the bar.
Yeah, that's a world-class moment, and that's something you can't, as well as Ipswich have done second half, there's nothing you can do about that kind of moment when they're created, and sometimes it just undoes you. But unfortunately for Arsenal, his shot was probably the worst part of that move. It was going always high and favoured the goal, and he just helped it over the crossbar, and now we have a corner.
Here's the corner over on the far side. It was a good stop from Muric, but I think it was always going over the top anyway. Here is the Ødegaard set piece from the far side, and Delap and Gabriel get involved in their familiar tangle, and that's left space for Rice, who's hit it first time on the volley. It's stopped by Muric. Good save by the goalkeeper, and another brilliantly worked set piece by Arsenal, and the wrestling match between Delap and Gabriel created a space for the Rice effort. Here comes Trossard far side, cross into the box, takes a deflection, bobbles behind, goes out. It's a corner.
Yeah, they knew that Rice was isolated on the edge. They'd seen that in the first half. So that Gabriel takes in the Delap, and Rice is all on his own. And actually, it's a great hit. And fortunately for Ipswich, there's a defender in the way. It just hits him square, and luckily not on his arm. Otherwise, it'd have been a penalty. So good sort of workout situation from Arsenal to see that.
It's Dar O'Shea in front of Muric, I think, that makes the stop.
Yeah.
Here is the corner far side to be taken by Ødegaard again. The tango resumes between Delap and Gabriel. The two of them wrestling inside the 6-yard box. He goes to the back edge of the box. He's headed away by O'Shea. Drops down inside the area. Gabriel keeps it alive. Right hand side is Ødegaard again. He dances down the right side, gets into the penalty area. He's robbed by Cayuste, and then in the left fullback position he manages to clear to halfway, and with 15 minutes to go, Arsenal starting to put the pressure on. Back to Ødegaard. Havertz with his back to goal on the edge of the D. Marino sends it wide. It's headed back into the 6-yard box. He's smuggled towards goal, towards Havertz. It's stopped by Muric. Comes off the German and spills behind and out for another goal kick. Well, Arsenal just upped it again.
Big chance. He's miskicked it, I think. He should score. I mean, you know, a striker of his quality, he probably gets a little bit of interference from behind, but it should be a goal.
There's a good cross in towards that near post, and he did just sort of misfire a little bit there. Was he being pulled back? The referee didn't say anything, and I don't think the VAR's checked.
I just think he caught his shooting leg a little bit, you know, like when he pulled it back to sort of trigger it. I think the defender sort of just clipped it, but not enough for a penalty.
1-0 to Arsenal. Trossard, after a miscontrol from Johnson, a fumble which has allowed Arsenal to regain possession on halfway with a throw-in. Thrown back by Lewis Skelly all the way to Gabriel. Remember, all the while it's 1-0 to Arsenal, there's still a chance for Ipswich, if they ever get a shot on target, that they might end up nicking something here.
Yeah. I've been in many games where my team has had one shot on target and got something.
That's all that matters. You've been behind as well to Arsenal and come back and got a famous point, if I remember rightly, 4-4?
4-4, yeah. One at Highbury a couple of times, never won here though. No? Difficult place here.
Here is Marino trying to get down the outside of the penalty area, gets into the box now, left-footed, drives the ball towards the far corner, saved by Muric, and Trossard can't put in the rebound. Shoveled out towards the near touchline from the left. Arsenal attack again. It's now with Ødegaard. Ødegaard for Arsenal trying to make some space for a right-footed shot, which he doesn't really catch, and it flies away to the left-hand side and goes out for a goal kick away to our left, and it remains 1-0.
Yeah, Ødegaard just pulling the strings a little bit in this last sort of 5-10 minutes and took the sting out of Ipswich. So Kieran making another sub here, feeling like he needs to change it up a little bit.
Nathan Broadhead coming on. Maybe with the hope of trying to create something to give them a chance, a platform to nick something from this game with 13 minutes to go. I think you were right. When we speak to Kieran McKenna live on the Sports Bar straight after this game, he will probably say we were too timid in the first half, but our second half performance was good enough, and we could have got something from the game as a result. Maybe they still might. Here's Delap.
Not with that pass.
Giving the ball away cheaply. Havertz has got it, and then Trossard. High pressure from Johnson. Can't turn the ball over, and it goes all the way back into the 18-yard box where Arsenal have it with Saliba, and then look to build from deep. Another change as well. It looks as if there's going to be is that
maybe
Jack Taylor is coming on, and it could be, is that Al Hamady as well about to come on as well? It could be 3 changes right at the end. Here is Lewis Skelly, Trossard, and if Broadhead and Al Hamady are coming on, then certainly he does feel as if there is a chance in this game for Ipswich Town.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, this is a great moment for Kieran, because it's only a 1-0 game. So, you know, you can now have a go for the game. They've got themselves in a position to do that.
You're in Timber and Arsenal trying to do something about that as they work the ball down the Arsenal right towards the edge of the Ipswich box. Marino trying to poke it through to Martinelli. It's half cleared and it goes out over on the far side, and now Jack Clark looks to escape. He shrugs aside Ødegaard, gets over the halfway line, cuts infield. Now it's with Hutchinson, needs to be crisp with his pass. He's gone backwards instead of forward out to Johnson. Now the referee stopped the game because Ødegaard apparently has got a serious head injury, and we all need to stop. I think he was just handed off by Jack Clark as the two ran away.
No need to stop the game there. I'd be incensed if I was the opposing manager there. Good possession Ipswich there. Arsenal were a man light. He's laying on the floor. He's had a little hand in the face. Get on with it.
Well, is he going to go off the pitch now to get treatment?
Definitely not.
So he's back on his feet now.
Yeah.
And the game stopped when Ipswich were on the attack.
Here's the changes anyway, and off comes Jens Kayuste, on comes Jack Taylor. Put more legs in midfield, fresh legs in midfield. Off comes Ben Johnson, and on comes Broadhead. Slight change of shape here, and Al-Hamadi comes on to replace Delap right at the very end. So you've got Taylor in midfield, and you've got Jack Clark on the left, you've got Broadhead through the centre, and he's going to be joined by Al-Hamadi. So, and you've got Hutchinson who's moved out towards this near side. So you've got a more attacking looking unit here for Ipswich Town.
And a little bit more pace actually. So, you know, I expect to sort of see them running down the sides a little bit more.
Well, let's see what happens, because Broadhead is come out towards this near side, the right, as we get to the final 10 minutes of the game, and it's only 1-0. Here is Taylor trying to swish it out towards the right-hand side, and there's Hutchinson breaking into the right-wing position for Ipswich, who are on the attack here. They've got Broadhead waiting in the centre. Al-Hamadi is in there as well. He hesitates, Hutchinson, goes on the outside, didn't get the cross in, declined to do so, gets it to O'Shea, and then miscontrols it, Hutchinson. And it goes out of play, and the move which looked promising comes to nothing, Alan.
Yeah, so unfortunate for him, because he's come back tonight and against the club that he was at, and he just hasn't played well. Unfortunately, there he had a one-on-one situation, and you know, when you're away at Arsenal, you got go on, get him, and he didn't do that, and unfortunately, then it all got messy, and the ball's out of play.
And Arsenal without Bukayo Saka tonight, only managing the one goal, despite dominating the first half of possession. But Martinelli's got it now on halfway, and he's racing down the left. He's being chased by Dara O'Shea. He gets almost to the corner flag, then tries to turn back. O'Shea gives away a foul, and it is going to be a free kick right by the corner flag for Arsenal. And I think that was a little bit of experience from Martinelli to win that foul.
Yeah, haven't seen a lot of him actually every second half, and Dara, unfortunately, they're a bit industrial with that challenge, give away a silly free kick, and that's not what you want. There's still plenty of time here though, you know, and they could make Arsenal really nervous. If they can get through the next 4 or 5 minutes without conceding Ipswich, I fancy there might be, you know, a little bit of a late twist. We'll see.
When you say industrial, was it a little bit like, I don't know, Martinelli was the sports car, and Dara O'Shea was like the Volkswagen camper van?
Well, I didn't know where he was going to go with that, but yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. There is going to be a corner kick over on the far side, and it's going to be Rice to take it in towards the middle of the 6-yard box, and it's grabbed out of the sky and it's cleared away. And it doesn't really come to anything, that free kick, which was right by the corner flag for Arsenal. And as you said, the longer that Ipswich stay in it, the more of a scare they might well give the Gunners towards the end of the game. And I'll tell you what, there's a few scares. Oh, what a lucky touch from Clark, who helped it through to Al-Hamadi. He pushed it through towards the left-hand side, and now Leif Davis. It goes back infield. Well, Taylor works it wide, out towards the near touchline of Hutchinson. Hutchinson now moves it up towards the edge of the penalty area. And then dropping deep was Broadhead. And it's Ipswich who have the ball just in front of the 18-yard box. It was fascinating because we both groaned as the ball went up to Clark, because it looked like he sort of flicked it nonchalantly and he was going to give the ball away in a promising position, but actually it ended up flicking into the path of Al-Hamadi. Thomas Partey coming on for Arsenal.
Another defensive move.
Well, I think they know that the next 7 minutes are crucial. If they want to stay in the title race, then they've got to ensure that they get all 3 points here. They can't afford to give away this lead. And usually when they do score the first goal, they go on and complete a victory. Ipswich's last Premier League win from a losing position was 2-1 against Tottenham in North London back in December 2001. So that's a long time since they won a Premier League game away from home from behind. I don't think they'll win tonight, but they might get a vital point. They have Broadhead in possession, moving up towards the edge of the area, and they're committing numbers forward now, Alan. Yeah. And here is Jacob Greaves squeezing it out to the left-hand side. A chance to cross from Leif Davis. Oh, he just tried to take on Martinelli and ran into traffic, and now Arsenal are looking to escape. Jack Clark can't foul Martinelli. The ball is over on the far side. Martinelli does well to keep hold of it, and he gets a round of applause from the Arsenal faithful. No, he did a good job there. He dragged them out of defence and get them back into a sort of position of solidity.
Yeah, but you can just sense that Ipswich are just sending numbers forward now. The message to the subs is, come on, let's get something out of it. So there is going to be a big chance in this game. It could come for Arsenal, because obviously they're going to get stretched, Ipswich. If it comes Ipswich way, who knows?
Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. On TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van. I did bump into Lofty from EastEnders earlier on today.
Top man he is. Lofty.
Yeah, and he at half-time, and he was getting very frustrated with the fact that Arsenal hadn't put the game to bed. And he said, I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to get to 75, 80 minutes, and then Ipswich are going to go for it, and we're going to spend the last 10 minutes being nervous.
Well, he knows Arsenal pretty well, doesn't he? Let's be honest.
That was almost as predictable as one of his EastEnders script from back in the day. Here is Ødegaard down the right-hand side, and then nudging the ball out into the far corner, where it's collected by Havertz. Ødegaard then tells to help it on, and does help it on into the path of Timber, and then he tries to turn it back through Havertz and all the way out the other side to Gabriel. Arsenal now forcing the ball forward. Down the left they come. It's with Trossard trying to get the cross in. Across comes Hutchison and plays it against the Belgian. It goes out of play. So here's the change then. Thomas Partey comes on for Declan Rice.
Oh, okay. Maybe Declan was feeling it. He's taken his pads off now, so maybe he's got a knock.
Yeah, it does look a little bit uncomfortable as he walks off towards the near side. And he gives an applause to those inside the stadium, and hopefully he will be thinking that the job is done and that Arsenal can move up to second position in the Premier League with a victory here. They do have some interesting games coming up. They've got Brentford away, which is definitely not an easy place to go in the next round of fixtures. Then they've got Brighton away, Manchester United live in the Cup here on TalkSport after that, and then the North London derby. So an interesting January for them.
Yeah, I just think they're all winnable games there.
Every game's winnable if you're one of the best teams in the land, I suppose. Al Hamadi trying to win the ball in the middle of the park. It does spill kindly for him, then ricochets into the path of Taylor. Taylor works it wide to Leif Davis, who doesn't do well with his first touch. His second touch is to wrestle Jurrien Timber and lose and give away a free kick. The first touch was all important there as the ball spread. It was very untidy, the attack in the first place. Taylor worked it out wide eventually towards the left-hand side, and when it came through to Leif Davis, his first touch takes him into a position from where he then can't get a cross in, and he ends up in a cul-de-sac wrestling with Jurrien Timber and gives away a free kick.
You know, if you're looking at Arsenal tonight, I don't know if you'd come from sort of Serie A, you're an Italian manager, you wouldn't look at this Arsenal side and think they're going to win the Premier League. Because Ipswich haven't been brilliant tonight, and yet they're still in this game, and they've had enough jeopardy. If they had any kind of quality to have created one or two chances, which they still haven't managed to do. But Arsenal have really not been brilliant at all tonight. They've been functional. That's been about it.
Well, what would be really worrying if you're Mikel Arteta is, and I know he'll spin the positive later and say, well, we got all 3 points and we got the job done, and it's over Christmas and there's a lot of fixtures, blah blah. But actually, they were so much in control of this. Oh, there's another foul throw on the far side.
Is that 2?
Yeah. Leif Davis has just thrown the ball in, and now the referee stopped the game, giving the ball back to Arsenal, and now he has given it to Jurrien Timber, and it's going to be a throw in to Arsenal. Harry Clark about to come on for Ipswich. The problem for Arsenal is they were so in control of the game. They had so much of the ball in the first half. They didn't do enough with it to put the game to bed. It should have been over at half-time, really, Alan. 90% possession.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying about the current leaguers we have, that their strike force would have made much more use of that possession.
Does that highlight that he needs to dip into the market for those sort of players?
I think so. I think they need another one.
Here on the left-hand side, Clark dancing into the box. Jack Clark still with the ball at his feet, trying to work it to a blue shirt. He goes back to Phillips, who then sends it wide. Dara O'Shea on the right-hand side. We're in the 89th minute of the game on TalkSport. It's finally poised. Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0. Should have been over this, but it's not. And Ipswich are now just testing the Arsenal resolve. Can they get over the line against the team that are newly promoted? Space out wide on this near side for Hutchinson. There's a lot of it but Clark has got it on the other side instead as Ipswich come on the attack once more. It's back with Jacob Greaves. Infield it goes towards Clark, who hits it first time. Taylor, who hits it first time. And it bounces off the defender, but it's Ipswich body that wins the second ball. And now Amari Hutchinson has it on the near touchline. Gives it back to Dara O'Shea. O'Shea back to Hutchinson. Hutchinson right side. Trying to go in on the left foot to give a cross towards the far post. It's too close to David Raya, who plucks it from the night sky into his chest, and he'll hold that as long as possible because he knows he wants to run the clock down, which is an odd state of affairs, really.
Yeah, and Ipswich had good possession there, and obviously there was going to be a moment when they were going to put the cross in. Unfortunately, the cross was nowhere near good enough from this left-hand side, from this right-hand side, left-footed from Hutchinson, and they just haven't been good enough, Ipswich, to create a chance even. Can't think of even though they've had much more of the game second half. Can't think of a good chance that they've had.
Not really. It's all been sort of scrappy and play that's happened in front of the penalty area rather than inside it. Here is Martinelli over on the far side as we enter the first of 4 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Arsenal leading by a goal to nil against Arsenal. Against Ipswich. They cannot afford to drop points in this game. Not with the title charge on the line. Not with Liverpool so rampant at the top of the table. Liverpool will have 42 points from 17 games and still have a game in hand as Wolfenden comes off to be replaced by Clark for the final few minutes. Arsenal will go up into second, 6 points behind Liverpool, but there's still a load of time to go. The title race might well go on right to the very end, certainly will hope so. Ball cleared away by Ipswich from inside their own half. Al Hamady has sent it back towards his own penalty area, and that was dangerous because it was uncontrolled, and Havertz has gone sprinting down the right towards the corner flag, tracked by Jack Clark. He's then emerged with the ball, giving it to Ødegaard. That's blocked by Phillips, who actually has played quite well tonight.
Yeah.
And it's shuffled towards halfway. It's only going to be the 5th win in 11 matches for Arsenal, but it's going to be a vital one in the Premier League. Their Premier League form hasn't been great, especially over the autumn, where they stumbled a little bit. But it's one that lets Liverpool know that they are still there, they are still on the agenda, still on the radar. Away by a combination of Greaves and O'Shea, but they don't get it very far, and Urian Timber looks to go forward again, but then he gives it away, and Clark tries to release Al Hamady, and it was a good ball forward actually, that.
He's done well, Clark, since he's been on.
Al Hamady couldn't hold on to it, and it runs all the way through to David Raya, and Arsenal have it once again. 03717 2233 44. What will the Ipswich fans and the Arsenal fans have made of this? Boring Arsenal is the sarcastic cry from Arsenal's supporters. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Used to be a famous scoreline that back in the day. Used to be enough to get them over the line on a number of occasions. They wanted a little bit more tonight, but they didn't quite get it. And Arsenal are going to emerge victorious and go second in the table. But I don't think everyone seems that happy about it, to be fair.
No, it's been a strange performance from Arsenal. They've been relatively comfortable, even though they've got a bit nervous in the last sort of 15-10 minutes. But as I say, Ipswich, at this level, you've got to create 1 or 2 great moments with the possession they've had second half. Well, they haven't.
Muric has the ball on the edge of the centre circle, and he's kicked it long. Dara O'Shea doesn't win the header. Gabriel does. Harry Clark gets it back right side. Now it goes to Hutchinson. Hutchinson trying to cut in field. Gives the ball to Broadhead. Then the return. Needs to lay it off. It was a bit short to Taylor. Al Hamady is fouled, was he, by Gabriel? The Ipswich Town fans go mad. They thought he was. And now Martinelli escapes through the middle of the pitch. O'Shea comes across and clears. And now Clark has it. Al Hamady's still down. He's got back up and started hobbling. But Jack Clark is running forward. Socks rolled down by his ankles. He moves in a languid start up towards the edge of the penalty area. Then they go backwards. They've got to go forwards because time's ticking away. There's 20 seconds of additional time remaining. It's 1-0 to Arsenal. Ipswich are coming forward though. They need to get it into the box. It's Clark to Phillips. Phillips looks up, sends it wide to the far side. Clark has peeled out there. He takes on Timber, goes back towards Jacob Greaves. Clark again. They're still well outside the penalty area. It's got to go in the box. Darren England looks at his watch. Phillips goes down the other side. It's out to Hutchinson. Hutchinson runs at Trossard. Goes on the inside towards Broadhead, who gets it onto his left foot. Tries to strike. Bounce off the back of Al-Hamidi. And then he commits a foul and gives away a free kick. Well, he blocked his own teammate's shot there, the Iraqi international. And that stopped what could have been a big moment. There is possibly a VAR check here. I'm not entirely sure what for, but the referee is holding his hand to his ear. And what is that all about? Handball?
Oh,
There's the full-time whistle. And Arsenal close out 2024 and jump into second place behind Liverpool, but it wasn't the most convincing victory. A convincing first half where they should have been further ahead. A second half where Ipswich up the tempo and the ante, but didn't really lay a glove in an offensive sense on the Arsenal back line. They want to be above Liverpool, Arsenal, by the time the season comes to an end. And to do that, they have to just keep on winning. And winning they did. It's 8 wins in 10 for Mikel Arteta after their autumnal blip. A blip they hope that isn't too costly. It's finished here. Arsenal 1, Ipswich 0.